In the sweltering summer of 2005, my parents were too occupied with their full-time occupations to patiently take care of a 13-year-old boy, read Ball of Destruction. But my father worked in construction and had a constructive solution. I was to be employed as a handyman, which is a contradiction in terms. For I was neither a man, nor was I very handy. But he still handedly handed me off to his foreman, Mr. Murphy. Now, Mr. Murphy was the greatest boss a 13-year-old boy, read worthless slacker, could ever hope for. Because he was just like me. He had the greatest Scooby-Doo impression that any grown man could or really ever should. Half the time I was supposed to be working, he'd send me on break rather than break a sweat. We often broke it down in our impromptu freestyle battles. We played this game. When driving from job to job in his Silverado pickup, he'd tell me to press the button. I'd press it, he'd floor it, and we'd screech down the pavement, throwing our hands into the air, yelling, hyperdrive, engage. As we threw our hands in the air, I'd often stare at the wheel and wondering how we never crashed. Mr. Murphy seldom had his hands on the wheel because they had other jobs, like laying down beats or breaking dirt, fixing appliances, holding up a family of 11. Mr. Murphy used the time that we spent driving from house to house, fixing things that other people broke like a summer break, found vacation in vacated lots, so we played lots of games. Play this one game, where I would sweep stoops in the hood while Mr. Murphy got high in a nearby basement. It was hard to face it. But Mr. Murphy had his vices. When he left me to my own devices, he caught slices of joy, bad advice his friends gave him in high school, led the way from puffing J's to popping pills. In his 20s, he upgraded to skinnies, show some skin, breathe the night air in sharp, then spin until the record stops. Music drops when you move from weed to crack rocks. The dream ends when you wake up in a dark basement surrounded by your terror stairs. Don't go to heaven when you're always coming down. And if a man falls in a crowded room but everyone's too fucked up to hear him, does he make a sound? We continued this backwards game of seek and hide for 5 years. Tears fell from my father's face when faced with the slander's newsletters read, Slumlord. Mr. Murphy turned the houses he was supposed to be taking care of into crack dens. Back then, I was too young and naive to see it. I saw it. Years later, at my grandfather's funeral, he looked as gaunt and skeletal as the body in the dirt, and when I saw his skin cling to his bones, it broke my heart harder than any eulogy ever could. I stood, crying. I asked him, how are you? I'm fine. We talked for a while until he left, and I watched him go, red-eyed and breathless, as he drove away, both hands placed firmly on the wheel.
That was Rob Mitchell. That was the end of round one. Make some noise for all the poets so far.